this is amazing. I was clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Water.
For the first time here for season 3. Davis on pole, Vandergren in second. It's going to be sprint round action here tonight. Let's go racing here at Daytona. It was a good start there from Davis in comparison to Vandergren in behind. Cowan's absolutely bogged it up and already dropped out of the top 3 here as they come down towards turn 1 for the first time. There's biffing and barging between Gallen and Cowan. These guys are still going at it after last season. They survived for this time by though. Through turn 2 and 3 they come. Nice and clean, boys. Keep it up as they come up to...
I love riding. It's a real social thing. There's a great bond between riders.
Every weekend I look forward to getting out there. It's a freedom like no other.
Riding to work is a great way to start the day.
Shannons insure all types of road bikes, not just classics. They offer features riders really want. It's why they're one of Australia's leading motorcycle insurance providers.
Whatever you ride, whatever you ride,
Whatever you ride.
ride with Shannons.
Call 134646 for a quote.
Through turn 1, it was a horrible start from De Bono, who's absolutely bogged it up and gets eaten alive by Dixon and Gowans as they come on through. Through turn 1 they come, and they all spread out around in towards the first sector of the Silverstone circuit. They look all right at the moment. Okay, there's already been a car spun round. That's Jordan Ferguson offline.
Is green, green, green at Road Atlanta here as well. Faulkner did get away. De Bono is tucked in as well. Unfortunately, Houghton is on that outside line. De Bono does want to turn it on to 2 and 3. They go round the right-hander, dropping down the hill. Faulkner's out in front. De Bono second, Houghton third, Ratcliffe in fourth. No real dramas going into turn 1.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannons,
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover.
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be.
Shannon's.
Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 134646 for a quote.
This is amazing. I was clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because tell you what, Bruce Tanak and Jamie Dyson just absolutely drove away from us. Hayden trying to go around the outside. This is where he could have just sent it up the inside, but he hasn't committed, which is fair enough. It's very scary out there, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's see if he gets a good run. Dodd's just absolute thinker, but it is a really nice move. Blake Delaney had to move out of the way.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to SRW TV, and welcome into the MOZA Racing Super Formula Championship for round 7 of season 1 of 2025, out at the Sachsenring here this evening for the first time in SRW. We move our way over to my favourite, well, personal favourite, German circuit on the IRacing service. I know it's a bit contentious with Hockenheimring and the Nürburgring on there, but I really, really love the Sachsenring. I'm your commentator, Hamish Munro, joined as always by Jack Anderson alongside. Jack Oz, a tough night on track for drivers, traversing a new track that they've never raced at before in SRW. And with a late setup change to the gearing as well, that's only going to up the test for these drivers here this evening.
Yeah, it is. I've just seen on my cameras someone's just lost it in the back section, as I'm sure will happen quite often during the night. It is a very challenging track, and as you said, a very late change to the setup might catch a couple of these drivers out.
Yeah, I think the circuit already is going to offer a hell of a test. The amount of undulation changes to this track is otherworldly, pretty much is the only way to put it, to really put it. But it's one that I think is a good test. It's a good challenge for drivers. I think it's going to suit these cars very, very well. I'm interested in future to see how the supercars go around this place, and as well as a couple other cars too, like the Porsche Cups and the GT4s and GT3s too, because I think it has a little bit of everything here. Obviously, I mentioned the undulation changes, the on and off camber corners, the long, fast-flowing corners, the slower, more direct corners as well. So I think it's going to throw out a heap of tests to iRacers, of course. It's one of the freshest tracks in the iRacing service, and they came out back in Season 3 of 2024. And as I said, we've yet to have a chance to race here, so it's for the first time we get to go around this place for round 7 tonight, as I mentioned. So I think it's exciting. It's exciting to be at a track which we've not been at before, and I think these are probably the best cars for our first outing here, Jack Oz, in terms of how well they'll suit the track. There's not really that much of an unknown for open wheelers at the Sachsenring. I think if we'd brought 8.6s or supercars here, then it may not have gone so well. But I think tonight we're going to get some great racing and some fantastic battles as well.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, I'm ashamed to say that I haven't turned a lap here yet. So not quite sure. Yeah, I know. I'm quite disappointed in myself for it, to be honest. But yeah, it seems like a good track. A lot of the Velocity boys were having some fun in the practice session on, I believe, Monday night. So it seems like it's a good track, might produce some good racing, and yeah, definitely from what I've seen, seems like it would be a nice track to drive, especially in these super formulas with a medium to high amount of downforce for a open wheeler.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we can see here with the onboards, I couldn't pick a correct car apparently. Everyone was going in the pits at the end of practice, but just the longer fast-flowing corners, how much pace drivers can actually throw this thing around in as well is unbelievable. And I think what's going to be one of the big factors tonight is how much practice as drivers got in. How comfortable are they with this circuit, and how comfortable are they with what it produces in terms of racing and in terms of passing opportunities and battle opportunities. So I think there's plenty of passing opportunities. It's going to be whether how willing you are to go for it and how comfortable you are going for it as well. Only a week's worth of practice though, Jack Oz. I don't know how many people would have had practice in going for overtakes here, because it's one of the hardest things to practice, especially when you're out there on your own, is practicing those overtaking opportunities and getting used to going for overtakes in a new circuit. So that may test a couple of drivers, and that may actually then lead to some more chaotic moments, we'll call them, out on track. And I think it's one that will test drivers for sure, but we know they're willing to battle. We know they're willing to go for overtakes. We'll just have to see how much or how comfortable they are being around each other and actually going for those moves.
Yeah, exactly. And even the little late setup change with the different drop gears will definitely put those drivers on edge if they weren't aware of it, even if they did get some practice in. So and make for an exciting race ahead of us.
We just saw there one of the drivers, I think that was Sam Katakazinis, just struggling with a little bit of grip through one of the faster paced corners. Cowie, your average sim racer, of course, Andrew, former commentator here in the SFLs, or in the F3 days, of course, now races in this series. Cool track, and he said it's fun. So I enjoy it. As I said, it's my favourite German circuit on the iRacing 7. It's my favourite German circuit of all time. Very contentious, maybe a little bit hipster of me to pick the Sachsenring over the Nürburgring or Hockenheimring, but I really love this place. I've loved it ever since the first time I drove on it, or technically rode on it in a MotoGP game, and I have been wanting it in a car racing sim or game for so long. And the first few laps I drove here were immense, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I want to try and do more laps here to get faster, because, as I said, it holds a special place in my heart, and I think that it is one that just is a little bit overlooked sometimes. But then again, so is Urschersleben, Jackals, and that's a big test for a German circuit as well. But qualifying's underway. Predictions, thoughts, what might we get to see in qualifying, who we may see rise up to the top. We know that this season we've had quite a few Pro-Ams challenging for race wins this season. We've had a couple of race winners in the Pro-Am class actually overall. How do you see this playing out, Jackos? Because we come into this race, Danny Davidson's leading the title race by 41 points to Giuliano Sinise. Sinise gained some good points back in race 1 last week at Barber, but then struggled to capitalise in race 2, became a little bit unfortunate, and then actually lost back those points that he gained and then some over Davison. So where do you think the sand's going to lie in terms of how this race is going to be built from the ground up for these drivers?
I reckon the sand's going to lie across the track when people rejoin the track, Hamish.
I agree.
But but no, I think that you can't really go past the just Danny Davidson, Sinise, even Mazzaroli might have a go.
De Bono as well. He's out there.
Yeah,
he's been on fire recently. He won.
Yeah, he's won 4 of the last 4 races.
Exactly.
From memory.
Exactly. Over the last 2 rounds, he has gone unbeaten. So for De Bono, he's on form, and if he can end out this season well by getting 2 more wins tonight at the Sachsenring, 2 more wins next week at Homestead, Miami, he's going to be looking pretty at Suzuka in the final race of the season, where if he could take another win, he'd undoubtedly be the champion.
Yeah, exactly. Which, it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of events. But I've got to say, going back to your German circuits, I can't go past the Nordschleife myself. I just love that place.
Completely understandable. Completely understandable. I mean, it is a phenomenal circuit. Don't get me wrong. Absolutely phenomenal circuit. I've always been more of a fan of Hockenheimring over the Nürburgring. Again, I don't know why. I love driving the Hockenheimring. I love the Sachsenring as well. Nürburgring is a great circuit. I think the one thing, though, that we can't agree on is Germany makes phenomenal racing circuits. Like, just absolutely all-timers. Like, Urschersleben, as overlooked as it is, actually a good track. The Nürburgring, phenomenal. Hockenheimring, phenomenal. The Sachsenring, personally, for me, phenomenal. And then you look at tracks nearby to Germany, like the Red Bull Ring, which I love as well. And then even further down into Italy for, obviously, Mugello, Monza, Imola, tracks like that. It's just, this central part of Europe has got some all-timers at it. Some little hidden gems too, and I think that if you're a driver in Europe and you're racing in a European F4, F3 series, you've got it made pretty much. I think if I could talk about some Australian tracks in Australia for some in Europe, I'm going for some of those tracks in Central Europe because they are phenomenal.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. You can't forget Rudskogen either, and
that's right. In Norway.
Yeah, and you can't. I had it on the tip of my tongue, so I'm sure I'll remember it later.
Well, there's Brno in Czech Republic, which I think is overlooked a lot. Obviously, there's Le Mans, not only for the Le Sarthe circuit, but also the Bugatti circuit, Circuit de Paul Ricard, Monaco, of course, which is Monaco. It's contentious. You know, it's a track that holds no prisoners. Plenty of others too, and I think that for Central Europeans, they're all obviously Spa and Zolder as well in Belgium, and Zandvoort in the Netherlands. So for for Europeans on the main part of the European continent, there are some phenomenal tracks. They're absolutely spoiled for choice. I mean, I feel privileged for the fact that Victoria has 3 racing circuits in it, in Sandown, Phillip Island and Winton. But
and Calder.
And Calder, actually, yeah. Calder is getting updated as well, which is good. Hopefully it gets scanned for iRacing soon so we can have Calder Park.
Would be very nice.
It would be phenomenal. Doubtful, but be good. At least it's still open. Even to get just the oval would be pretty cool. Run a right-hand Oscar race around there. That'd be fun for the Thunderdome. We're 5 minutes though into qualifying. Jordan Mazzaroli leads the way at the moment, 111.55. Has just been pipped by Doug Gowans for a 111.51. Davison goes top straight after 111.28, so there is no reprieve for lap times for these drivers. Mick Clifton showed some good pace then, but just gets pipped by Benjamin Brook and Nick Martin. De Bono goes P4 as well with a 111.66, so these lap times are going to keep on coming in quick and fast, Jackos. And I have a feeling that they're going to get faster and faster the more used to the circuit they're getting, the more the cars wear in. Again, these cars like a fine wine. The older they get or the more well-used they get, the better they get as you drive them along. Andrew Rushworth in the chat as well. Good evening all. This will be some epic racing tonight. Love this track. So glad that you love this track as well, Andrew. It is phenomenal, and I cannot wait, as I said, for the supercars to come here because it'll be an epic test. Long corners, Jackos. Supercars don't particularly like long, fast corners too much, and this track's full of them. How do you think supercars would go at this place?
Oh, you're at a very much slower corner speed, so it might be okay. But even in these cars, the tyres do tend to overheat with all the fast loaded corners, and then obviously if they're overheated, then they will start to wear a bit quicker. So you might see cars a little bit grip limited rather than fuel limited coming to the pit stop.
Very well.
Great to see Nicholas Martin out there. I'm kind of excited to see what he can come up with this week. We saw him last week have a great battle with some of the leaders.
Yeah, and unfortunately got a penalty as well for what we actually found out after the race. So we had that whole debacle with Danny Davidson going slow under safety car. Nick actually passed him as he was coming out of pit lane to head up to where De Bono was because he was going so slow, and Nick actually got a penalty for that from race control. So unfortunate for Nick, but you know, that's the rules, and unfortunately for him, he broke the rules, so he had to get penalised, of course, through even the most controversial of moments I know. And then we completely trust race control's decision in that moment because Nick did break the rules at that sense. So hopefully he can get a little bit better luck tonight, Jackals, and you know, think about some of the moves he makes and get himself a quality finish on the podium.
Yeah, you can see both sides of the coin with that one. Like, the said person was going quite slow, like ridiculously slow, but at the same time, you can't pass under safety car. Everyone knows that. So it is what it is. Hopefully, he goes better, or he has better fortune this round. And yeah, I'd love to see him do really well, maybe come away with a win. And I gotta say, I do love the double cam with father-son combo.
The father-son double cam is something else. I mean, it's something special that we get to implement for these drivers. We've also got Callum Rosanita out there once again as well with his camera. Hopefully he's not digging for gold this week at the Sachsenring, Jackals. I don't think there's any gold mines out in Germany. Could be completely wrong, but hopefully not. Hopefully not for him. And then, of course, we've also got Andrew Cowan as well with his virtual camera joining us here tonight as well. So good to have those drivers involved in the virtual camera world. They're the only ones that we have got on the virtual camera tonight. And we've also got as well the double cam once again too, which is currently riding on board with Jordan Mazzaroli as he leads up down the the main straight, of the Sachsenring circuit past the Liqui Moly sign. So for drivers tonight, there's a couple of different angles that we can catch them at. And any mistakes that they make, well, you know we're going to go back through it, and you know we're going to get replays of everything that happens in this race if we can. Do we think many safety cars, Jackals? Because it's pretty wide and open here, but it's a newer track, and it's a big test for drivers to contest. You know, I think it's all going to depend on how much practice they've had and how comfortable they are. But the closer that the drivers are together, of course, the higher the chance we do get those safety cars. But being that it is wide and open, I don't know if there's much opportunity for drivers to actually crash into the wall and then end up back on the track.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Like, you would think maybe because it's a new track to us that there might be a couple more mistakes and things, but there is way more runoff than there has been in the past couple rounds that could be deemed safe enough to tow if they're far enough out. So it'll be interesting to see what unfolds for the race control. Oh, the race, sorry.
We currently run on board with Danny Davison as he traverses the final corner. So let's give everyone a little, perfect little POV shot off the current pole sitter and current championship leader as well as he runs down towards turn 1. So you'll get an understanding with the driver's eye of the undulation changes at this place, how drastically it goes downhill and then it all of a sudden goes all the way back uphill by the end of the lap as well. This track's been pretty much built on the side of a mountain. It has that many elevation changes in it, Jack Oz, but with elevation changes comes a good test, and it definitely has some, more or less, it has some characteristics of other race circuits in Europe as well. You think of Aragon has similarities to Aragon, has similarities to Navarra, has similarities to Portimao, obviously the Nürburgring as well for the Grand Prix circuit too. So as I said, I really enjoy this track. I really like it. And I think it was a long time coming for the iRacing service to get this circuit, and I think it's a welcome one as well. And I think it's a good test for these drivers. And I think another good test that we've had coming for the start of the next season, which released today, is Portland. And I think that road course, which everyone who was following SVG when he went over to the US, that was his first Xfinity race, was at Portland, and he got the win. So I think it's going to be a favourable one for a lot of fans.
Yeah, 100%. I'd love to see races at Portland and things like that, and the new circuits that are coming to iRacing. It seems like it would be a phenomenal circuit to have in this series, especially these cars seem like they would relic over there. So
I reckon they would. Some of those fast-flowing corners at the end of the layout of Portland, I think these cars would eat it up. But we are 11 3/4 minutes into qualifying. It's a sprint round here this evening, so they will get cut off at the 15 minutes. We've got a 20-minute sprint and a 40-minute feature to come your way. And the SFLs here this evening brought to you by MOZA Racing, of course, as well. So, big night. The only one normal round we have left for the season for the Super Formula Championship is the final round at Suzuka. Next week at Homestead, we're on for another sprint round as well. That should be an absolute cracker for these drivers to contest with as well. Homestead Miami, of course, brings a big challenge with the differing surfaces around the track course. It has that full tarmac, the tarmac concrete composite, and the concrete as well. So it will test a lot of drivers at that circuit when trying to find the grip in these cars. And at Homestead, especially in the infield, Jackals, they may have to go on a worldwide search to find grip at times, especially the older the tyres get.
Oh, exactly. That track is treacherous at times for grip, for lack of a better word. So it'll definitely test some of the skill of some of the drivers.
Gockle in the chat, there's the drivers / commentators / race control have to watch their language now with FIA overseeing esports. That would only come into consideration if we were a part of the FIA. So if the league is a part of Motorsport Australia or a part of FIA, then that's when that would, I think, get into consideration, wouldn't it, Jackals, I think? I don't think they're going to do it if we were to swear, which we don't, on broadcast. If that would happen. We try not to. It's very rarely happens on a broadcast with us here, but, I think we're pretty safe, obviously. I know it's a joke from you, Gockle, but genuinely, I think we should be okay. Relatively speaking, because we're not a part of the FIA and we're not a part of Motorsport Australia or SIW, so we should be fine. So we are just over 14 minutes into this session, about a minute left to go here in qualifying. Danny Davison sits at the top of the time sheet at 1:11.281. Jordan Mazzaroli will only have one more chance at qualifying to beat that time of Davison's, but at the moment, Mick Clifton is the man on pace. A purple in the first sector, a green in the second as well. Could the Rockstar find something here and get this AM car up in towards the top end of town as he comes up the main straight now? of the Sachsenring to cross the line. He goes P8 in qualifying. It's the best he can do, Jack Oz. We'll see if he gets pipped as the final times come in with only 30 seconds left to run.
Yeah, it was sorry, my mic was on mute. Yeah, it was a brilliant time by him there to get into the top 10. And who are we on board with now? Matt Tesserero. We'll see, does he improve?
He's all orange, so I don't think he has. He hasn't. So
no.
It's looking more and more likely that Davison is going to get pole here. With only a couple of seconds left, they're going to disappear into the shadow realm. And no one is going to pip Danny Davidson in qualifying. He'll go pole once again here in the MOZA Racing Super Formula Championship. We appreciate everyone joining us here tonight as well for our 2 races on the clock. We've got 20-minute sprint and a 40-minute feature to come your way. And the starting grid for our 20-minute sprint here this evening will be as follows. Danny Davidson will start pole position ahead of Jordan Mazzaroli on the front row of the grid. Doug Gowans, Giuliano Sinise on the second with Dylan DeBono to make an all-pro top 5. We then get to the Pro-Am pole of Nick Martin starting at a P6 ahead of P2 in the Pro-Ams. Mitch Noble with Mick Clifton P1 for the AMS tonight in qualifying starting at a P8. Ben Brook and Jason Depp will then make up our top 10 with Matt Tesseriero and Sam Katakazinas for your top 12 here in qualifying. As we move back to Callum Rosanita, Darren Fay, Nathan Verney for your top 15, Andrew Cowan, Kevin Wakefield, Andrew Proctor starting in behind them with Brad Hudson and Josh King for our top 20 drivers here this evening. Kurt Heath, Tim Schmalenberg, Andrew Martin, Dean Singovich for the top 24. As we then move back to Greg Johnston at the back end of the field with our race controllers Matt Keane, Greg Barber, Steph Piccoli, and Tyson McAvoy at the back end of the field. So, no, we're not on the grid again. So, Jack Oz, thoughts, opinions, predictions for safety cars? How many are we going to get across the sprint round tonight?
I'm just going to guess the 1 for this one. What about yourself?
Yeah, I think 1 or 2. Mr. Noble saying to me that Mick Clifton is a Pro-Am, so I'll get that changed up. He's listed as an Am in the thing, but that's fine. We'll make him Pro-Am, Mitch. Thank you. I'll fix that up. Yeah, I have to agree. I don't know if we're going to get it. I think if we get it early in race 1, we may see 2, just based on the fact of new track, driver's a little bit unsettled as well. Mitch Noble, anyway, hello fellas. You still sound beautiful tonight. Stream looks great too. Thank you so much. That's thanks to the brand new graphics update from iRacing. So thanks iRacing for updating our graphics. Makes everything look that little bit better. Really helps us out when they release that the day of a broadcast. Appreciate you getting in the chat with us too, Mitch. Hopefully you can... Oh, I just noticed he's not actually racing tonight, is Mr. Noble. I'm going to assume you just don't own the track, Mitch, and that's why you're not racing. Oh, no, he is racing. He's P7. My brain, I swear. It is. I need a holiday, Jack Oz. I need a holiday.
Yeah, it's been one of those days.
Yeah.
So.
The day has gone incredibly long. I will say that. It has gone very long today. It just... Normally they fly by, and just today it is absolutely just turtle walked along the whole way, but... We've got only a couple of seconds left until the green flag is going to go and the lights are going to go up. For Davidson and Mazzaroli, it's crunch time this season. For Sinise and Gowans and DeBono, this is now the championship making round for their season as well. Lights are up, the revs are rising at the Sachsenring for the first time in SRW. We are underway at the Sachsenring as it's green flag running down towards turn 1. Massive scramble towards the first braking zone of the Sachsenring as they run around and try and find their footing, find their rhythm here. As the long run downhill begins, can they keep themselves in check? Mazzaroli and Gowans are already tussling for position in the toing and froing first section of corners, as they run up back towards the top of the hill. And now the long run down happens once again. The descent of the Sachsenring before they ascend to the top of the hill once again at the end of the lap. It's looked relatively clean thus far, Jack Oz. They've done well off the start, found their rhythm, found their position. And now it's time to push on for the next 20 minutes and try and find something in this race.
Yeah, exactly. I guess you could call it the descent of madness, or into madness, because there was cars going 3 wide in a couple of the opening corners. It was pretty great to see that they all got through basically pretty cleanly. So
good to see as well that they were willing to go for those moves so early. Speaking of early moves, Nick Martin now moves up past Giuliano Sinise as well to go 1 position up from where he started on the road this evening. Lap 2 commences as they run up towards turn 1 once again. Gock in the chat saying stream is stuttering for me. Goes from like 60 FPS, 15 FPS and back and forth. I'm getting a couple of drop frames, Grockle, but it should settle itself down fairly soon.
it probably is just the pure amount of cars on track.
Yeah, it's just everyone's a bit closer together. It's early on in the race as well. It should settle once we get into the rhythm of things as well. So just stick with us. It should sort itself out. As Martin is now under pressure from Sinise in behind, so they're going well. Mick Clifton's up there too. Mitch Noble as well in within this fight, same as Jay Stepp and Sam Katakazinos too. We've had no early incidents in this race, Jackals. Everyone's stayed relatively clean, apart from a minor off-track for Andrew Cowan, but he's kept it going. I think he just maybe ran it a little bit wide early on. Oh, but that could have ended in tears then. They nearly came together off the exit down at the second to last corner, and Martin and Sinise survive this time by for Danny Davidson. He leads the way once again, and he runs through turn 1 with the fastest lap of the race, 1:11.9 ahead of Mazzaroli and Gowans in behind him as they continue on for this race.
Josh King, I've only just noticed, but he has a very nice looking helmet on this round. I don't know if that's brand new, but it looks very nice. Also, just a housekeeping thing, Hamish Tyson is at the bottom of the leaderboard.
Yes, thank you for letting me know that. I need to remove him from the driver list because he's back to race controlling, so we'll fix that by doing this. There we go. Now he's gone. Thank you. Oh, Brad Hudson, though, has had a moment. He's kept it going here, Jack Oz, but let's see what's happened to him. He's on the outside of Andrew Proctor, then the inside. Oh, caught the 3D curbs and then just slowly spun it round. So lucky not to get any damage, but not the start he would have wanted here this evening. You mentioned that Josh King has a new helmet, did you?
I believe so.
Let's have a look.
If you go onto the TV or the roll cam.
This one, it is this one. He's got the Hyperfast helmet on. I might have to I did update my trading paint, so we'll update it again.
That is what it is. It just looks pretty nice from the top. Like,
hang on, that you're not on Josh King.
No, not currently.
You're on Dean currently.
I was before though.
Okay, that's why.
Oh, there's a crash there.
Oh, that was Kurt. Was that? Yeah, Tim Schmalenberg off the road and in the weeds. Same corner that his teammate Brad Hudson went around earlier on. So it's struggle street down there here at the Sachsenring as Davison leads Mazzaroli down the hill once again. Great to have you with us, Matt Gerard. Evening, boys and girls. Sheafy in there too. Let's go VRT. Giving the love to their drivers as well.
I see that Sheafy's not in here for me to give him the mocker this week.
Definitely not, as Sinise and Martin have been going on and off track in the background. In fact, Martin's actually now dropped down the order. So what has happened between these two to cause this moment to happen? So Sinise, ran it a bit wide. Oh, Martin went, what the hell happened to Nick then?
Did he just get a hip and shoulder then?
I don't know. Let's find out. What has happened to Nick Martin to get down off the track at the bottom of the hill? Current is inside. That was Mitchy Noble.
Maybe a bit of neck code.
Yeah, I think it was.
It didn't look like he meant to. He gave him enough room.
No, definitely.
I think it might have been a little bit of net code involved.
Yeah, because it shouldn't have shot him off that far off track without net code. So
lucky not to collect any damage from that.
Oh, very lucky. Very, very lucky for both of them, in fact, to not collect damage off that moment. Katakazinas, currently one of the biggest movers of the race, is up 2 positions inside the top 10. Dean Singovich, Greg Johnston, through natural attrition, have now gained 4 positions in this race by surviving this way through. Dean's trying to follow his teammate, Josh King, further back. Dean's currently P20 on the road, P4 in class. Andrew Cowan leads the way for the AMs as Mitch Noble's now getting passed once again by Nick Martin. I think maybe redressing that position possibly for Mitch, just to let him go again.
Yeah, quite possibly, but Nick is showing quite a bit of speed, so he might have just caught up on merit. So
Nick's
if
had
it was
some-
a redress,
he's had some great pace though from Nick. I mean, he's proven it the last few weeks that he has had some fantastic pace in this car, and he just has to try and continue moving on forward and pushing this car to its absolute limits to find what he can out of the Super Formula Light. Of course, his dad Andrew in the rig alongside him. He's a bit further back at the moment, P24 on the road for Andrew Martin at this stage, not the night that he would have hoped for thus far. Andrew Cowan leads the way at the moment for the amateur class. He's a bit further back at this stage. He's up 1, but he's inside the top 15, so not a bad night on the road in the first 7 minutes for Andrew Cowan. Callum Rosanita is now up 2 positions as well and into the top 11 cars. He's just in behind the top 10 of Sam Katakazinis and co, including his teammate Jason Depp. Maybe hoping that good old Captain Sparrow may actually just push Sam back a little bit so he can get past him here for Callum. Oh, Matt, it is absolutely awesome that both Nick and Andrew get to race together, especially alongside each other as well. Whilst they're both in their separate rigs, they are in the same rim, of course, as we saw. And yeah, really, really cool that those guys get to actually do it together as father and son. It's a pretty cool moment for them. But at this stage, Jackos, Danny Davidson has got the pace over the field. He's only 0.9 ahead of Mazzaroli at the moment. Gowans is still with them. But it's looking pretty straightforward for Davison. Maybe a regular night at the office for him to get back to winning ways here at the Sachsenring.
Yeah, he's just starting to show his old form, which is good to see for him. He's had a couple of, I wouldn't say off races, but he hasn't really shown what we know that we can that he can bring to the table. So it's good to see that he's having some fun out there. And did he just set the fastest lap of the race, I think, as well?
He did, 1:11.42. That was a phenomenal lap from Davison. He's definitely showing pace over the rest of the field. And in fact, Mazzaroli's now actually started to gap out to Doug Gowans in P3. That's now hovering around a second, as Mazzaroli's still staying within the tow range of Davison, but not really showing the lap pace that he possibly could, as Greg Johnston has had a moment on the main straight. How has he ended up there? I have a feeling it might be the Black AstroTurf, possibly.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to make it all the way out there. So
oh, it was on the sand.
Oh,
tell you what, though, great job to hold the brakes as it started to go and then just let it roll forward. That was a great effort from Jono as he then backed it back to try and get it going again.
Yeah, great effort to keep it out of that wall as well.
Probably one of the best saves we've seen all season from any driver in the field, not just Jono, but anyone out there. It's really, really good to see. So for Danny Davidson, he is 10.5 minutes away from another race win here tonight if he can keep this up here at the Sachsenring, as he sets another fastest lap on the trot, 1:11.397. 2/10 slower was Jordan Mazzaroli with a 1:11.534. Gowans was faster than Jordan that lap by in the FTR car, and he was still faster than DeBono and co in behind him as well. Mitch Noble showing good pace. He's ran at 11.8 last lap, 5/10 faster than Mick Clifton. He's got to keep doing those sorts of laps, Jackos, to cut down this 1.2 second gap that Mick has over him here for class win. And he's just starting to gap out now to Nick Martin, just a little bit in behind, but this battle looks to intensify as it materialises across the rest of this race. Of course, we're halfway through, so another 10 minutes to go, and then we'll have the 40-minute feature coming your way as well with that reverse top 10 on the grid based on the results here of race 1.
Yeah, it does seem to be heating up a little bit, especially with the 3 cars behind Mitch Noble. Mitch seems to be just walking away from him a slight bit. Keeps on maybe overshooting turn 1, but other than that, he seems to have the pace over these 3 behind him. And as you said, catching Mick Clifton just that little bit each lap, and maybe hope to get onto the back of him or past him by the end of the race.
Well, that gap is now down to 0.8 of a second, so Mitch is slowly catching him, and these drivers are getting pulled forward up to the back of Mick Clifton as well, so this could start to form into a nice little 5-car battle pack. We sit on board at the moment with Jason Depp as he enters in towards turn 1. It appears that somehow, with Cyclone Alfred, Captain Sparrow's internet has fixed itself. It must be a 7 Seas thing. Now that the seas have broken land, all of a sudden his internet is completely fine.
I believe.
Oh, Andrew Proctor and Dean Sinkovich. Dean has kept going. Andrew's kept going too. What's happened? Oh, it's turn 1. Is it a big boy dive from Proctor? No, it wasn't. Oh, no. It was Josh. Oh, it was Dean on his outside and big net code. They kept going, though, to be fair.
Tell you what, though, I did not expect Dean to just go up out of nowhere.
he really did. He just say,
hello, and said, hello there.
Hello there. Oh, so there's a big send on the outside from Dean. And then, yeah, just kind of turned across Andrew in the end. Oh, that would hurt the back if this wasn't the sim. Good job he doesn't have a motion sim. Otherwise, he might be jumping for joy off the back of that one. But Proctor is still going. And so is Mr. Sinkovich further back in the field. No Stephen tonight. It seems Jack Ozzy couldn't get the practice in. Of course, started a new job this week, so maybe a bit tired from that as well. Hopefully we'll see him out there next week for Homestead.
Maybe his back hurts from landscaping duty.
Oh, my God. As we sit...
We've seen, Vernie finally made his way past Cowie up into 15th place. He's been gnawing on the back of him for a couple of laps now, so good to see that he's made it past him.
Oh, that was Proctor.
Andrew Proctor off the track.
Yeah, he's had a little bit of a run off the into the sand, it seems. Well, that's not where you want to be, Andrew. Very good job, though, not to hit the wall. I'm very impressed tonight by these drivers not getting into the wall. But Mick Clifton, it's been an absolute heartbreak for him here, Jack Oz, at the second to last corner, it seems. Big understeer, rear end goes. Great reaction time from Mitch Noble. Even though he came back on track, gassed it up, got it back off. That probably saved a massive incident there from Mick Clifton. Great spatial awareness. Now, didn't hold brakes, but I think he probably did save it just by gassing it up and getting that thing out of the way.
Yeah, quite possibly. It was an interesting decision to go back on, or let it roll back onto the track. Good avoidance by the rest of the boys there. But yeah, it's not like he had many other options to choose from. So,
well,
great.
I mean, the reaction time from Mitch Noble. The reaction time from Mitch Noble was ridiculous. I mean, that was something else. And in fact, might as well use it while we've got it. This was what it was like for Mitch Noble for his POV of the driver's eye as he came around that second to last corner. There goes Mick. Oh my God, he just kept the steering into it and just kind of forced oversteer to actually get around him there. That was a great move from Mitch Noble to keep himself in the fight.
I'll tell you what, he made a brave choice of having a white pair of overalls in this race after that. He might need a new pair.
Yeah, he should have worn the brown overalls, it seems, for Mitch Noble. 15 minutes into this race, though. 5 minutes left to run here at the Sachsenring for race number 1. Danny Davidson sits 1.4 seconds ahead of Jordan Mazzaroli. 0.8 seconds behind is Doug Gowans off the back of Mazzaroli, with Dylan DeBono 1.8 seconds off of them. Giuliano Sinise down on pace a little bit tonight, it seems, is 4.7 seconds back off the top 4. Further back by 5 seconds is Mitch Noble, who's under immense pressure here from Nick Martin, who slowly but surely every week, Jack Oz, is actually becoming one of our favourites to keep an eye on. Nick's really becoming a bit of a crowd favourite and a bit of a favourite here in the booth to just see how he's progressing and see how he's going out on track. It's good to see.
Yeah, he's a bit like a bit of an underdog, really, and everyone loves an underdog. It's great to see him improve week on week and see what he comes up with at the end of the round.
So as we get in towards the final part of this race, we've had a little bit of chaos in this one, Jack. A couple of self-made moments, we'll say. A couple of mistakes from some drivers. Nothing really untoward. With that reverse top 10, how do you think that's now going to shake things up in terms of some of the chaos we could see early race in race 2? Of course, it's going to be twice as long as this one, so do we think we're going to see a little bit more of that carnage early on, which then could bring the safety car out, or do we think it's maybe going to be a bit of the same in that one and they might spread out eventually by the end of the race?
It could go either way, really. It's hard to say with the bunch of blokes. They are a great bunch of drivers, and it could go either way. You could see someone just break out and start to walk away from the field, or you could just have them all just go hell for leather and battle it out the whole time.
Responding to one of the messages in chat.
Was that Noble using like all the track limits and more? I take it part.
I think he was, and Andrew playing the Noble theme there, just moving out of the way. Oh, Mitch though catches some curbs, gets a bit loose. Might have been thinking about if Andrew was going to play team games there for his son Nick to maybe help him past under blue flags, but Mitch is under immense pressure right now from Nick Martin, who is all over the back of him. Katakazinis has now found his way up into this battle too. Jason Depp's there. Darren Fahey of DFR as well. He's been quiet this season as Darren. We were hoping he might have been a little bit more towards the front more often this season, but, well, maybe it's just a bit more of a cruisy season for Mr. Fahey, and he can come back next season and really challenge for race wins once again.
Yeah, he's just kind of flown under the radar and, just kind of chipped away each round, and it's still good to see that he's up there or thereabouts, but yeah, definitely not the Fahey that I'm personally not used to seeing. So hopefully he's able to find some more form and show his former form come back.
It's kind of it's one of those things, isn't it? As time goes on, you can lose some of that pace or some of that ability, but I think maybe as well, just maybe Darren's not able to get so much time into the car as he recently has, and that could be affecting his racing, as well as on the bottom screen, Andrew Cowan and Mick Clifton are tussling for position in P15 on the road. They get out of it unscathed as we have a minute and 20 seconds left in this race. Danny Davidson's at the top of the hill, so we should get one more lap to go when he crosses the start-finish line. Doug Gowans is all over the back of Jordan Mazzaroli as they descend down the hill towards the final couple of corners. Mazzaroli covers the inside line nicely, and Gowans is going to have a final lap dash here for P2 in race number 1. This could be the battle to keep an eye on as we get the white flag this time by.
As Nick Martin seems to have gotten past Mitch Noble for P6. So he still doesn't want to give it up, though. Noble's trying to get back underneath him. And that Katakazinos is also having a go at him from around the outside for turn 1. So this should shape up pretty nicely, pretty wide.
This is getting spicy, Jack, because we've got sand surrounding this circuit. And these guys they're building one hell of a sand castle of a battle between them out of it here. They're really molding themselves well into a fantastic battle on track for the final lap. If we can get more of this in race 2, that's going to be something you don't want to miss, because this is going to be as intense as ever. Martin, though, has now offloaded Mitch Noble in behind him. Doug Gowans is still stuck in behind Jordan Mazzaroli, but for Danny Davidson, it's been a cruise all the way along here in race number 1 at the Sachsenring as he traverses around the final few corners as Proctor's track extending just a little bit further back. And he runs up the hill towards the start-finish line. Danny Davidson will take the race win here in race number 1 tonight at the Sachsenring as he crosses the line P1. Mazzaroli is just going to survive ahead of Doug Gowans as Nick Martin looks to survive this ongoing battle with Mitch Noble. He wants it up the inside at the final corner. It's going to be a drag race to the line for Noble and Martin. Is it Noble? Is it Martin? Noble's ahead as they come up towards the line and just gets him by 0.044 of a second. Karnakazinas was in there too. Depp inside the 10 as well as Faye, who'll start pole for race number 2 here this evening. But what an end to that race and what an end to that battle between Nick Martin and Mitch Noble, Jack Oz.
Yeah, that was ridiculously close. Just a little cigarette paper in between it by the end of it, really. So that was great stuff. Great of Noble to stick it up the inside, and for Nick Martin to give him the room to do so. He might be kind of regretting it slightly now that he's lost the spot, but great racing between the two of them. But not only the two of them, throughout the entire field, it's been great racing so far.
And we're, of course, excited for race 2 coming up in a couple of moments' time. We've got a short little 5-minute warm-up session to come your way for drivers just to get a little bit more settled into the Sachsenring circuit. So be sure to get into the chat tonight with us. Let us know any drivers you want us to be keeping an eye on. Even ask us some questions. We're happy to answer them, of course, leading in towards the end of the broadcast this evening as well, or all throughout too. So any questions you have burning inside of you, be sure to get them in the chat. We'll be happy to answer them. I know what Jack's favourite question is. It's regarding pizza toppings. We're not going to bring that up on broadcast, but if you comment it, we will answer the question.
Well, I mean, you just brought it up. So.
I did just bring it up, but I didn't mention
That's
exactly
all right.
what it was.
I won't talk about it. Unless it's asked by someone.
Yeah, unless it's asked. That's what I'm saying. But that race there really started to get good towards the end as those tyres started to come off. More and more drivers pushing for those positions, for those little tenths, those little 2 tenths, any little opportunity they got, they were pushing for position. I think we could see more of that in race 2, but I think it's all going to come down to how close they are at the end of the race. Because I think the reason they weren't pushing too hard at the midpoint of this race was because they weren't scrambling for those final positions. They were more or less trading blows all throughout, trying to survive the run through. Race 2, I think, might be the same for that sort of middle 15 minutes of the race. I think the first 15 minutes we'll get some good battling starting to happen, and then it will start to kind of die down. The middle 15 will be that lull period that we can get sometimes in 40-minute races. And I think the final sort of 10 minutes is when we're going to really get into the meat and potatoes of these battles. And if those 5 guys in the middle of the top 10 in race 1 can be together again in race 2, I think that's when we're going to start to see, again, that phenomenal battle happening all over once again. And all of them swapping and changing positions, getting super, super close, as you mentioned. Was only a cigarette paper between them. But just keeping that battle close and almost giving you and I a heart attack, I'm sure, all throughout the race. Just based on, are they going to survive or are they going to hit each other and end up off track?
Yeah, exactly. And especially with the chance of a safety car. I know it's probably not a very percentage chance of a safety car, but if it happens, that'll just throw all strategies out the window, and it'll make for some interesting, maybe a sprint race towards the end. So, it could be interesting. I've just cut to the same thing that you have, Hamish, the safety car out on track, hoping that he doesn't put it in the wall at any point.
We've started the conversation in chat, Jack Oz, not even mentioning what the topping was.
I have seen it. I agree. Pineapple on pizza is amazing, but you have to. Or my go-to is pepperoni pizza, but you add pineapple and jalapeno because then it makes it. It's
sweet,
just the
salty,
best combo that I've
spicy.
ever had. Yeah, so it's nice.
I think Sean's reasoning of he's allergic to pineapple is very acceptable. Personally, for me, I'm a take it or leave it. I used to be an absolute hater of pineapple. Then I tried the pineapple and jalapeno and I liked it. But yeah, I'm going to take it or leave it. It's if I feel like it on the pizza, I'll get it. If I'm not, then I don't. I don't think we should gatekeep pizza at this stage. At this stage of our lives, Jack Oz, what is the worth in gatekeeping pizza toppings? Eat what you like, eat what you want, and enjoy life. And I think that's what's important. And that's one of the main things with pizza is it's about enjoying it. And if you don't enjoy pineapple, don't get pineapple. If you enjoy pineapple, then do get pineapple.
No, 100%. It's whatever. Well, you just, as people say, you do you, boo.
Exactly.
So.
You do you, boo. It was a very dictated answer. We'll say it's very, sort of, I'm trying to think what the word is. Not offensive. I don't know. I can't think of the word right now. My brain is dead. It's fried. It's been a long Wednesday at this stage as well. Oh, Andrew, satay chicken pizza is phenomenal. It doesn't have snow peas at the place that does satay pizza here. I'm not personally a fan of snow peas, so I wouldn't get snow peas on it. But again, you do you. If you like snow peas, get snow peas on your pizza. I don't like it, so I don't. But satay pizza, it cooks hard.
So.
What was that?
Cooked snow peas on a pizza do slap.
Oh, fair enough. Guacal penalty for the safety car for not following proper blue flag rules and holding their line. Well, to be fair, it's a warm-up. There is no blue flags yet. My brain's not braining, Andrew, I'll be honest with you. As I said, I need a holiday. At this point.
I've noticed that both safety cars are also on track
They
at
are.
the moment.
Barb's and Tyson are out there. No Steph out there. No Matt Keane out there in their safety cars. But warm-up has come to an end.
I think they've given... they must have given Steph the timeout for the safety car, saying that she forgot the keys last time.
No, that was at Chicago. She forgot to leave the keys behind, and they couldn't get it up there. Oh, slivered almonds. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Oh, Singer's gonna hate us for talking about food.
Oh well.
Oh well. That's what you get sometimes, isn't it? I can't wait to start talking to James about food when we get to broadcast.
Well,
that's going to be great.
At least this time I can say I didn't start it.
This is true. The chat started it. I didn't start it. I just brought it up, and they started it.
You brought up pizza. It's your fault.
Lies. Absolutely.
It's Johnny's fault.
It's Johnny's fault. These lies are absolutely reprehensible from you, Jackos. But starting grid, though, for race 2 will be as follows. Darren Fahey will start pole position with Jason Depp on P2. Remembering it is a top 10 reverse. Well, the top 10 has been reversed from the results of race 1. So those guys who finished 9th and 10th will start on the front row. Head to Sam Catakazinis and Nick Martin for your top 4 with Mitch Noble, Giuliano Sinise, the top 5. Dylan Zabono, Doug Gowans, Jordan Mazzaroli, and Danny Davison will make up the reverse top 10, with the rest of the positions coming from where they finished as a continuous grid in race 1, with Matt Tessrio and Callum Rosanita making it at all VRT 6th row of the grid, with Ben Brook, Mick Clifton, and Andrew Cowan for your top 15, Nathan Verney, Josh King, Brad Hudson, the top 18, Kurt Heath and Andrew Proctor for your top 20. Dean Singovich, Kevin Wakefield will start ahead of Tim Schmalenberg and Greg Johnston, with Andrew Martin starting P25 on the grid here this evening as well. Matt Jarrett coming up with a great idea. Lap comparison between the safety car and the SFL car, Jackos, like what they do at Bathurst with the speed comparison.
Oh, and like at the Grand Prix, they used to do the, what was it, the road car?
It was the road car, the supercar, and the F1 car.
Yeah, the Renault Red Bull thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be pretty cool.
Sounds like I need an update. An update on what, Andrew? My brain? Possibly. Probably needs a firmware update. I think it does. I think it does need an update, to be fair. Oh, what do we think Captain Depp can do from the front row, Jackos? I mean, he's not used to being surrounded by so much sand normally when sailing the 7 seas. Do we think he can survive here at the front, or do we think he'll drop back?
I'm just hoping he doesn't get sent to Davy Jones's locker, to be fair. So,
well,
I'm hoping that he digs down and defends a bit, and maybe a bit of bit like Nick Martin did last week.
I've just seen Barb's comment, let the safety car driver learn the track first. That's what they were doing. They were learning the track. But lights are up for race number 2. 40 minutes of racing to come your way at the Sachsenring. With Faye and Depp on the front row, it's green flag running. Once again, as they run down towards turn 1, Faye immediately defends the inside line with Catakazinis on the outside. Martin's gone for an early dive. Nearly ends up in the sand, but they've survived for now as Sinise's had a great run off the line, up to P4 or 5 at the moment, battling with Mitch Noble. Big lock up from Catakazinis into the long right-hander as they start to ascend back up the hill once again. They've survived for now, Jackos. Doesn't seem to be any real losses at this stage. Proctor has been off circuit but not damaged, it seems. But for Faye, it was a great strategy off the line. Defended the inside line of turn 1 early, got the good jump, and has survived in P1.
Yeah, exactly. He seems like he's just going to try and walk away a little bit. As the Kazanos is right on the heels of Jason Depp there. And a lot of the drivers actually, they're doing really well to keep it clean, especially in the early stages. I think, I got to say, it must be because I can't put the mocker on Fifi to maybe spin out. Or big
moment at the final corner. Sinize's off. Noble made contact.
He was looking like he was struggling to hold that car. Or has he just made contact with Davison too?
It is getting feisty inside of the 10. Davison's called that in. Dean Sinkovich has had a moment further back, so it's all happening here early on in this race. Let's have a quick look at this moment that happened with Giuliano Sinize and Mitch Noble down at the final turn. So as they run up towards, Noble inside line, got a little bit loose, and then just caught that rear tyre and it flung him off. And then this was Dean Sinkovich a little bit later on at the end of lap 1. So he was already on his lonesome further back. I've just seen a massive lightning strike outside. It is raining heavy here. And it was a wide line at the final corner. And then caught the tyre as well. Contact. 2-for-1 special from Dean on that moment there. As Jordan Mazzaroli's had a big off track as well. He's now got it going once again, but he is further back in the field. For Gowans, though, he has started out a gap a little bit here from Davison as he chases down Depp Katakazinas. But Faye has ran away with things at this stage. A great start from him. Could this be the return to form that we asked for, Jack Oz? Where Faye can get either a podium or even a race win here tonight. Although it is only 2 3/4 minutes into it, there's still plenty of time for things to happen. Plenty of time for things to not go his way as well.
Yeah, it is very early doors, so you don't want to maybe call it too early. And
well, when the opportunity comes a knocking, you've got to answer those early doors. Yeah, you try and reference my commentary again, and we'll keep on. I'll just keep on coming back at you. Don't worry.
That's all right. Did you know these cars are made for this track?
I don't know about that. I think that was a more accurate statement for the supercars at Phillip Island. I think these are more or less made for different types of circuits, to be honest with you. Loretti's claiming that Faye's going to spin. Car 10 drive-through penalty contact on that one. That's Mitch Noble. So as we suspected that would happen, as Kanakazinas has now run off the road, rejoins, lucky not to make contact. Sam gets past. As we can see, though, this battle was about to heat up once again. But Mitch Noble, unfortunately, is going to have to traverse through pit lane and do a drive-through for the contact with Sinize. Yeah,
it's very unfortunate for Noble, unfortunately. I don't think he meant to cause the contact, of course, but you do the crime, you got to serve the time. So.
Exactly right. Exactly right. This battle is heating up, though. Davison struggling with some locking up, it seemed, into turn 1. But Noble's struggling from some pressure now from Martin and De Bono. The smart play here, I think, for Noble is you just come in and do your drive-through, get yourself out of the pressure, and just try and push on for the rest of the race and at least claw something back possibly as well. As Ben Brooks just had an off-track further back and he's on his lid. Could it be the safety car? Could this be a safety car with the car on its lid down at the bottom of the hill? What has happened to Ben Brook in the Frog Leap Juice Racing entry? Oh, he's had a steering failure.
Ooh.
That is massive. That was huge. That was a big steering failure for Ben Brook. We'll see if RC decide to bring the safety car out or if they think they're going to just tow him back. I've just seen Tyson McAvoy has hopped into the safety car. He's just missed the leader, but that's okay. They'll pick them up as they come back around. But I suspect that everyone now will hop into pit lane. If you were a betting man or if you were maybe a little bit more clued in on when the safety car was going to get called, if you're in the position these guys are in, like Tesserier and Rosanita, where you were at the pit entry before the safety car, or as the safety car was called, you just duck in and do your pit stop and then try and push on for the rest of the slowdown lap.
You would think so, but at the same time, you don't know whether it might be too early for...
So, just quickly, Sinise and Proctor have come in. So, could this now be an opportunity for Giuliano Sinise to get some gains out of this race. He has clean air aplenty ahead of him, so he can now push on pretty much at 95% pace, get these tyres up to temp, and try and gain something from it as Faye comes around the final corner. Should come straight into pit lane, does indeed. Where is the safety car? There it is there. So it was Tyson McAvoy. He waited for those drivers to come out of pit lane. He's still waiting at the end of the pit lane as well, so he should actually catch these drivers as they come through. Gowans has stayed out, as is everyone else. So could this be a misplay from Gowans and co as Faye and Martin have come in? Could this be a race-winning strategy from some of these drivers now, Jack Oz?
Yeah, I was just wondering, do you reckon it might be a bit too early to pit? Like maybe they might not make it home on fuel, or maybe they don't think the tyres can make it from here, so they're not going to pit now and going to take the pain later.
So I got some goodies from Hutto the other day in regards to just some info around here. So obviously we've never had a winner around here. This is the 185th, 186 races of the SFLs. At this stage, so they have 23.9 litres, 52% capacity, 1.1 litres per lap is the fuel burn. The stint length is 21 laps / 25 minutes. So the pit window is roughly lap 13 to lap 21. But the more safety cars we get, obviously, the less time we're going to have out there in terms of green flag running, which means there's going to be less laps in this race that are run because they're running around under safety car a lot slower. So I think if these guys are now banking on another safety car, they've got the hot ticket. They've got the best scenario in their hands. Nick Martin, Sinise, Proctor, and who else was that came in?
That is a lot of fuel to save, though. I'm not sure if they'll be able to save that much, but they won't have to pit
might,
in it,
they
even
might
if
not
there's
need
another
to.
safety car.
So they may not need to. So it's 25 minutes of fuel. They've come in at the 5-minute mark. The more safety cars we get, though, who is that off track? It's Dean Sinkovich. I think he's trying to let everyone go. Yeah.
Back of the line, I mean, sorry. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether... Sorry, well, there. I'm still getting over.
Tongue-tied and twisted. So
yeah, as I tried not to cough.
So safety cars come in. So we've only had the 1 lap under safety car. We're green flag once again, Jack Oz. So not the amount of time that those drivers who did pit would want, but the more safety cars we get, the better this is now going to play out for them. As Gowans leads them through turn number 1. And Depp on his heels. Davison and Katakazinos is in there too. There's battling in behind between Cowan and Schmalenberg. Sinise's on the fresh fuel burn as well. Possibly did he take tyres? I think he may have. So this could now play out in his favour too as at this point of the race, Jack Oz, as Dean Sinkovich has now come through pit lane. But for Gowans, it's been a ripper start on the restart here. Could we get some solid green running, or are we going to get another safety car called here this evening? Andrew Rushworth did mean that he did say that we'd get 2. It also, as well, he pointed out that because of the black flag that Mitch Noble had, he had not committed to it until prior to the safety car getting called. So he would have had his black flag cancelled and then reapplied. So he actually now has another 3 laps to commit to this drive-through penalty.
Yeah, exactly right. I thought he was going to lose it then. He's come in to serve it now. And somebody has just received a penalty. I didn't quite catch what number it was.
We'll see what race control say. They normally send us out the message, so they should keep us in the loop at this stage of the race for these sorts of moments, as Mick Clifton has had a spin down at the hill. Somehow, drivers who were scrambled for position have stayed out of it. Oh, I think that's Ben Brooks saying PC crashed, victim of new packet loss, black flag.
Interesting.
Oh, he's actually been spun. That was Matt Tesseriero. What has happened? What has caused that from Matt and Mick? So down towards turn 1. Well, Matt's alongside before turn in, to be fair, so...
Yeah.
We'll see what race control say. We'll see what they say.
Yeah, we'll
They'll
leave
look
it
at
to them.
Yeah, they'll look at it completely.
They're more qualified than myself, so.
Well, you know, we personally we love some Spud race controller sessions between ourselves, Jack Oz, but when it does come to obviously live race control, it's better that the live RC does, you know, put the opinion out there, of course, because they are the ones that make the final decision, and not everyone agrees with the decision, but it's you've got to respect it because they look at it from every single angle, try and run through it as much as possible, and at the end of the day, it's race control's decision that matters. It's not our opinion. It's not anyone else's opinion. It's race control's decision. So it's a tough job. It's not one that I would want to do a lot. I'd much prefer broadcasting, as Dean Sinkovich has been off the road again, as well as Callum Rosanita, who's pushing hard here to stay inside of the top 6. So, you know, it's a tough slog for a lot of drivers. We're 11 or 12 minutes in. It is a phenomenal race thus far. We'll see what race control say about that moment, though, at turn 1 with Mick Clifton and Matt Tesseriero. For Danny Davidson.
Oh, we've had a spin. Wakefield's spun around.
Oh, good job catching that one there, Jack Oz, as Wakefield somehow stayed out of the wall. It's a great effort from him to survive at this point. What has happened?
I think he might have landed on the curb maybe a little bit too much.
Oh, he did.
Just spun it around. And
yeah, he did. To be fair, Gwackle, I don't always agree with race control's decision, but I respect it because it is a tough job. And from a first view, I give an opinion, and sometimes I am wrong. You know, so I'm not going to argue with race control decisions.
Baby spun himself around.
Adrian Loretti called that. Absolutely picked that one perfectly, as Faye did go around. It was Faye that was the other one that pit. But no, yeah, I mean, I've done some stints in race control as well. I understand it is tough. It's a scramble when you're not used to doing race control to try and get decisions out as well. But no, I mean, it's a tough job. It's a very, very tough job. And I think you know, anyone that questions race control, if they've never done race control, they should just sit in there one night and just see what some of the processes are. Because you can learn a lot from it. And I actually think you can learn a lot of racecraft from it too. Yeah, Adrian, you called it. You called it. There is the Darren Fahey spin. But 13 minutes into this race, Jack Oz, Doug Gowans is now under pressure from Danny Davidson at the front of the field. Sam Katakazinas is inside of the top 5 on the bottom screen. He's currently in behind his teammate, Dylan DeBono. They might try and tag team Jason Depp just up ahead of them to maybe just sail their way past onto the podium.
They're going to need the Black Pearl to catch up to him, I reckon, you know.
Elite. That was elite. I'm done. I can't do any better. Did Darren clip someone there? We'll have a look. Let's have a look actually what happened to Faye.
I think he might have just locked the rears, trying not to clip the back of the car ahead of him.
So yeah, he was behind Sinise and Clifton.
Yeah,
he got on the anchors and unfortunately it went round. One of those moments, unfortunately, there for Darren Fahey. He was doing very well early on in this race, but currently Danny Davidson is putting all sorts of pressure over the FTR car of Doug Gowans here at the front of the field. This is the battle for P1 on your top screen. Further back is the comeback of dreams here from Jordan Mazzaroli as he gets back past Andrew Cowan and up into P11. He's now only 2 spots down from where he started this race in P9. So Jordan is hot on the heels of the top 10 at this point as well. A very close one, very, very close one, Gwackle, for sure. So Gowans, he's under the pressure now, Jackals. What do you think? What do you think might be his best course of action here? Car 25 as well, drive-through penalty for contact on lap 8. That is going the way of Matt Tesseriero. So they determined that Matt was at fault for that one on Mick Clifton, and he's now going to have to traverse through the lane, unfortunately, for him.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate for Matt. He was travelling in the top 10 there, so
it's racing. It's one of those things.
Yeah, exactly.
You put yourself in a cautious area going for an overtake. There's always the risk factor of that happening, and it happened, and it just didn't go Matt's way, unfortunately for him tonight. But for Doug Gowans and Danny Davidson, it is going all their way as their battle continues on for the lead. 15 minutes, car 928 as well, drive-through penalty contact on lap 6. So that is Nick Martin, who now will have to come through the lane, unfortunately for him. So his night's ending on from bad to worse as Davison sends it up the inside at turn 1 at Gowans. Gowans gives him a suburb's worth of room on the inside line, and now Davison leads the way, and Gowans will try and tuck him behind, save some fuel, and work with Davison to break away from Captain Depp in behind them as he tries to chase them down in the VRT-built Black Pearl. Oh, there you go, Matt. You called it. Doug's let him pass and is now fuel saving. That was a good strategy from Gowans if he can stay in that tow. So at this stage, Davison's up 9 spots. Gowan's up 6. Depp down 1. DeBono up 3. Katakazinas down 2. Rosenader up 6. Vernie up 9. Schmalenberg up 15 into P8 Jackals with Jordan Mazzaroli tucked in behind back where he started this race.
Yeah, he's doing pretty well, isn't he, to get back up there? I think the saving grace must have been that safety car.
Definitely. I think it was probably a saving grace for a lot of drivers. Ooh.
Trying the over-under.
Couldn't quite get there.
Oh, he's definitely got the run.
He does. Let's see how this works out for him. Mazzaroli covers the inside. Schmalenberg on the outside for turn 1. Such a tough corner to get the outside run on. Can't quite get there as it goes straight to inside line of the next corner. And they continue on. Glockel's got his money on Doug. I think it's smart money to put it on Doug. I think it's also smart money to put it on Danny as well. Because we know that in these scenarios without safety cars, Danny can run away with things, but Doug is a very smart driver, and we'll see if this plays out for him, but he is slowly losing the tow. And with Depp coming up behind him, if he lets him pass, he's just going to get eaten alive, pretty much, the more cars that he lets go. So eventually he's just going to have to settle, stay where he is, and just try and keep getting this car forward and keeping it on track for the majority of the race.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Jace actually seems like he might be putting a bit of pressure onto Gowans now. He might have stepped it up, but Doug might also be fuel saving, as we've said. So you never know with these ones. It could be playing the long game rather than thinking about the now, thinking about the later. And even some of the battles on the track at the moment, like you can see on my screen, Sinize's about to mount a challenge to Josh King, and he's made his way back up to the back of Andrew Cowan as well. So he's just made past. Oh no, he hasn't. King. Oh, they're side by side there. He makes me hold my breath.
That's just, I mean, it's one of those heart and mouth moments, isn't it? When they're side by side through a fast corner like that.
Yeah, you got to have a lot of faith in the drivers around you to go side by side with that. So hats off to both of them for giving each other enough space.
Oh, 3 wide. DeBono gets past Jason Depp at the bottom of the hill. And will now start to put some pressure on his former teammate, Doug Gowans. Gowans is still not giving... He's not giving up too... Oh, DeBono's come in. So an early stop for Dylan DeBono, going for the undercut on those drivers. We are at laps... sorry, Hamish.
We are almost at the halfway mark.
Here we are.
So.
What did Nick get a drive through for? Let's have a quick look here. So what was my last message? Lap 6. Let's go all the way back to lap 6 and find what happened with Nick Martin.
Mazzaroli and Josh King are also in the lane while we look back at the... Whoa, and Sneeze's down the inside of Cowie. I know the Cowie will probably stay up the inside through turn 2 and obviously becomes the outside for turn 3, so it makes it a bit difficult to try and stay up the outside there. He's made his way past. Something's happened to Andrew Proctor.
That's why he's gotten a drive through. He went into the back of his own father. Well, that's they might have some words about that one. So that would be why Nick has gotten a drive-through penalty. Because he went into the back of Andrew Martin's car under the safety car, it seems. Interesting. Depp is now in, as you mentioned, so Captain Depp pulls it into port for one last time here tonight. Now hope to set sail once again as he exits pit lane for the majority of the rest of this race, trying to cut it directly in half pretty much.
Yeah, we're starting to see some of the drivers who did the early pit stop start to cut their way through the field as well. As De Bono is just going past the lane now, and Depp is leaving, so he got a bit of an undercut there, you would say. He's probably like a 2 to 3 second gap now for the undercut.
Yeah, it's worked out well for De Bono. Gokul asking, was that an unsafe entry? Any rules with white lines there? I'm going to assume he means at the pit exit. Yeah, they'll definitely duke it out in the driveway, Andrew, definitely. What were you going to say, though, Jack Oz, about the white lines?
The entry, I don't think that I think they're pretty lenient on the pit entry.
Oh, the exit, sorry, maybe. The pit exit, sorry.
But,
oh, yeah, sorry, unsafe entry into pits. Yeah, I think it is pretty lenient here, isn't it? It's only pretty much.
I think the solid line is like right just before the tyre bundle, so you've got plenty of time to make your way over. It's not like a lot of tracks where you see that you have to do it before the corner. We see De Bono and Faye going at it.
So
it's gonna get
Faye's on contact. How
much damage has he got?
Hang on. How? Oh, he lost it mid-corner. And De Bono had nowhere to go.
I'll tell you what, he got very lucky not to get a wheel ripped off there.
Very lucky not to cop any damage at all, it seems. Maybe a little bit of underfloor, but it appears to be totally fine at this point. So that's worked out well for Dylan De Bono at this stage. As we can see, Jason Depp is now hot on his heels once again. Danny Davidson, though, leads the way yet to come through pit lane in this race. That undercut strategy now pretty much cut down for Dylan De Bono after that moment with Darren Fay. As we said, nowhere to go for Dylan. It was unfortunate for him, but that's racing sometimes as well, as Davidson's down traverse past lap traffic of Nick Martin and put a car in between himself and P2 in Doug Gowans. The hell? I just lost my overlays.
Ow.
I don't know. I'll have to reload it. Okay. Let's reload up the overlays.
There's a couple more in the lane. De Bono's come in, so he's come in for a second time to obviously get the damage repaired. Cowie's in the lane, he's just coming out, finishing his stop, and Fahey is also coming into the lane, you would assume, to get the damage rectified on that car as well. Mick Clifton and Cowie are battling it out as Cowie came out of the lane there. They're side by side, going down into turn 3. You can just see how hard it is to defend into turn 3 there, Hamish. On the outside, there's just no grip.
Yeah, very sorry about the Windows noises there. Do apologise. Just trying to bring PDST to the chat. Very sorry. That's what happens when I have to close SDK and then reopen it. So very, very sorry about that one.
Nize's going up the inside of the Smalenbaum. Or was that? No, sorry, that was Hutto. The Smalenbaum is in front of him. So he's made up yet another position. He's back up into P7. And Kurt Heath coming for his stop as well. Bono's still in the lane, so he might actually be done for the night. He's out of the car.
Yeah, car 11 iRacing penalty as well. Pit lane speeding for Dylan De Bono. So it's unfortunate.
When it goes wrong,
it's more fun when it's more fun when nothing works. Not for me. I have heart palpitations when things don't work for me, especially when it's something that I can't control. It's like, oh, really? I can't do anything about it. As Davison comes in, Gowan stays out to push on now towards the 26-minute mark of this race as well. So yeah, we do apologise for the Windows noises. It's Not something that can easily
Sam
be controlled.
is in
Sam
lane,
is in pit
and
lane.
Tim Schmalenberg is also into the lane, which promotes Sinise up to P4 out of everything. He's not that far off the lead, Hamish. Like, when you think about it, he could be maybe on for a podium, if not more, especially with the Bono. Oh, the Bono's rejoined the track now, but he did seem like he may have jumped out of the sim for a little bit. He definitely jumped out of the car, but he's back on track now.
Yeah, probably just going to take a breath, calm down, and then rejoin to get something out of this race. Yeah.
Make sure he doesn't end with a penalty over himself. So
exactly.
Oh, Clifton struggling a little bit there, locking the front down into turn 3 or 4, and Scott King looks like he.
Oh, Sinise's off the road again.
I got to stop pumping up people's stock, Hamish.
You really are just bunging people on. Car 076 IRacing penalty for pit lane speeding. Danny Davison has got a drive-through penalty. So all of a sudden here, Jack Oz, it is on for Doug Gowans. And that was Sinise's other spin. So Davison has had to come back through the lane. That's an interesting pit spot for, for Davison.
He's become Optimus Prime.
Optimum Prime. But for Doug Gowans, this now opens the floodgates. Pretty much when he comes in, he just has to take it careful. Try not to risk an iRacing penalty for speeding in pit lane. Otherwise, it's going to open the door to drivers like Sam Katagazinis and Cal Rosanita as he comes into pit lane, gets that thing slowed up. Hopefully no iRacing black flag coming his way, as there you see Danny Davidson. Will he return to circuit after this stop hold penalty, or will he call it a night on the circuit as Gowans comes in for that scheduled stop? Davison rejoins, but he'll rejoin just pretty much on wood to go a lap down. So look at that. After all that, Davidson's still going to exit pit lane ahead of Gowans, but he's going to exit ahead of him 1 lap down.
The Bono's off as well. I think I saw him high speed
well
sideways.
off. What has happened with Dylan DeBono?
He just grabbed the exit curve,
the grass.
the entry curve.
Yeah.
Oh, we've seen plenty of people lose it there now, so very easy to do.
So for Doug Gowans, it has been put into his hands.
Mazzaroli. That was interesting.
Are these tires starting to go?
No, I think he tried to Fermi tried to rejoin from the pit lane, and I think it just caught Mazzaroli out by surprise, and he locked the rears to try and avoid him. So, yeah.
Let's have a bit of a look.
It's very unfortunate for Mazzaroli. Just unfortunate timing.
Verni's actually come out on the provisional podium at this stage as well, so comes out of pit lane. Yeah, he's kind of just maybe just a little bit more spooked more than anything from Verni rejoining. So Gowans,
maybe didn't expect him to be so far over to the towards the apex on the or the joining from the pit lane, but
quite possibly. Battle on screen now though. We've got the onboard and the outside shot as well of one of the current admins of the SFL series and the former admin Brad Hudson as they battle inside of the top 10 here, Jack Oz.
Yeah, it's great to see the battle out on track here, and he's coming back at him for the inside of turn 1. What's Callum going to do here? Smalenberg also in there as well.
Yep. So a couple of teammates trying to work together here to hold off Callum Rosanita.
Don't count Mazzaroli out either. He's right on the back of the 3 of these. So
he is indeed. There is Cal. He's all smiles at the moment. Can he hold this thing together in behind Brad Hudson and Tim Schmalenberg? Mazzaroli's in this battle too. As they roll around the long left-hander. Wants the inside line under the bridge. Hutto's trying to cover. Gets the job done and remains ahead. But now Mazzaroli's hot on him too. They How this race can turn on its head and how everything can change for these drivers. It started with De Bono getting a speeding and pit lane penalty. Then Davison getting his own as well as Tim Schmalenberg's gone off in a wild moment at the bottom of the hill before the last corner. Drops a heap of spots. Was there contact made? Or was that natural tyre degradation catching these drivers out once again? Was there contact with Hutto?
I'm not sure. It almost looks like he got loose, maybe under the brakes, but I can't tell from that angle. It's too... as we jump on board with
there was
him.
contact.
Definitely,
yeah, there was contact. Ironic, Hutto has just Schmalenbombed the Schmalenbomber and pushed him off track.
He ate a piece of that gearbox.
He did. It was a bit crunchy for him, it seems, but wow, how has this played out so well for Doug Gowans? What a race from him, keeping it nice and clean. He's got 8.5 minutes to go before he's a race winner once again here in the SFL's Jack Oz, and 10 seconds behind him who needs a pit stop, Jason Depp, should drop off the podium when he does pit. But for Sam Katakazinos, he could find himself on the podium here this evening.
Yeah, I think it's been a while between Rink from memory for Sam. So it'd be good to see him get another podium, and yeah, it'd be great to see Captain Depp get a podium as well if he's able to.
Lethal official in the chat too. Go Callum, watching from Vietnam. Well, Cal has been involved in an intensifying battle. Car 662, drive-through penalty. Contacts on lap 24. That is Brad Hudson, which is now going to promote Callum Rosanita back up into P6 on the road. Andrew Cowan and Josh King have just had a coming together at turn 1. What has happened in the braking zone of this corner is, I think maybe King's just tried to send him and it's gone wrong. Ooh,
yeah, he just wasn't far enough up there, unfortunately, and yeah, we've seen that happen a couple of times tonight, and unfortunately, I think it might be a penalty going the way of King there with that contact, but.
Quite possibly. We saw it go the way of Matt Tessariero earlier on Mick Clifton. As now Clifton finds his way ahead of Cal Rosanita. So he's found his way past Cal after he had a minor off track. And Brad Hudson, remembering, has 3 laps to commit to that drive-through penalty. So he's going to have to get that done in the next couple of laps. Otherwise he will face further penalties from iRacing if he doesn't commit to this black flag. I mean, the math doesn't really add up, but could Jason go for a no stop here?
I believe he did come in for a stop, Hamish.
Oh, okay. It must have reset when I had to reopen my SDK then.
Yes, he has. He has, I can tell you that.
Okay, yeah, cool. Okay, so he's actually on the podium. Deppy's on the podium tonight. It's amazing what happens when you get a sailor out in the sands of time, isn't it? How that can work out.
Maybe he's a Tuscan Raider in disguise. Riding the banter.
He's riding the banter, the 7 Seas of banter. Matt Gerard saying, go Sam, keep it smooth. He's doing well. He's doing well here this evening as Sam Katakazinos. A hell of a gap over Nathan Verney, 6.7 seconds at this stage. Mazzaroli's done well to get back up inside of the top 5. Hutto, as we said, needs to come in to commit to his drive-through penalty for contact on his own teammate, Tim Schmalenberg, as Clifton goes up the inside. So for Hutto, he's actually going to have to commit to that drive-through on the next lap, Jack Oz. Otherwise, he's going to get further penalties next to his name.
Yeah, exactly right. And it seems like he just does not want to give up, does he, Hutto? He's maybe got that dog in him, got a little bit of a fire lit up.
Got that dog back in him, does the former Bathurst native, now living over in WA for Hutto. Matt Jarrett saying, I think Captain Depp deserves...
coming through the lane.
Yep, for his drive-through penalty. Captain Depp deserves to get into pro. He's had some great pace each week. Yeah, I think for Jace, he's gotten that pro pace out of him, but his internet has really hurt him all season and in previous seasons as well, Jackos, where that's hindered some of his finishing positions. But I definitely think if he got a full season into his belt, he'd probably win the Pro-Am title and move his way up into pro. I think he's at that level now.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Yeah, he's been plagued by internet issues and PC issues all season long. So hopefully he's we've got Hutto off on the outside there. Is he going to come into the lane? He could be. Yes, he is.
Yep. There we go.
But yeah, he's been plagued by internet issues all season. So hopefully, if he's able to get a full season without those issues, I reckon he could definitely challenge for a Pro-Am title. So it'd be great to see maybe next season. It seems like he's got his internet fixed, or I believe he was running off one of the little dongle modems. So maybe he's pained from that. So good to see. As we see Nick Martin making his way back up, he's just outside the top 10 in 13th.
He's doing well just to recover here, Jackals, it seems. He's got about 1.9 seconds up ahead of him to Matt Tessariero, but he's about a world away from the top 10, unfortunately, due to time, as Greg Johnston is off the track once again inside, out in the sand. Drops some more spots, unfortunately, for him. Chief in the chat, Jep always had the speed, just hasn't kept the clean season yet, hence why he hasn't won one yet. Exactly right. I think his internet's probably plagued him, and early on he had a bit of, his race control wasn't quite up to scratch, which I think he's gotten better with over the past couple of seasons, Jackals. But as I said, I think the internet's been his main issue this season and last season as well.
Yeah, 100%. I think one of those things that probably help is a lot of the guys in our team are now using Driver 61 and being able to compare the telemetry and work together to try and just improve. As there was an incident that just got called no further action, but yeah, I think comparing telemetry, seeing what others do differently throughout the lap, especially with multiple drivers, it definitely helps. And the practice sessions as well. We've been holding multiple practice sessions this season, and you could definitely see that it's paying off. Like all the boys have been definitely improving in pace and consistency, which is what you love to see.
Exactly right. Glockle saying Doug must be fuel saving, so they must have missed you when he boxed. So Doug came in the same lap 22, which was the just before Danny Davidson had finished his stop hole penalty. So yeah, so Doug has pit. He pit on lap 22 about 9 laps ago. So he's well and truly able to get home at this stage with just under 2 minutes to go. Should be 2 laps to go for Doug Gowans before he's a race winner once again here in the MOZA Racing Super Formula Championship. For Jason Depp, this would be a breakout performance for him to get onto the podium. And as we mentioned, a long time between drinks with a simulated champagne for Sam Katakazinas. But it's one that I think is well returned for him to get back up there.
Stevie is bringing up that he also topped the practice session last round as well, which he loves to see. But
I think we've moved past now his whole personality being that he drives with one hand, and it is now that he topped the practice session. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, as Sheefy topped the practice session, or Tyler topped the practice session, Steve. So
yeah, 1 lap to go for Doug Gowans here at the Sachsenring. 1 lap to go in the end, the 186th running of the MOZA Racing Super Formula Championship here out in SRW. We've run race 185 and 186 here this evening for this series. I believe that includes the SFL, the Formula 3s. I could be wrong, though. I'll have to get Hutto to confirm for me. But at this stage, it'll be a good win for Dougie to get this on the board for him. Good solid chunk of points as well. If I have a look, actually, just quickly, where he sits in the championship standings. Where is it at the moment? He's P3 in the standings. So he's 105 points back on Danny Davidson. But the fact that Davidson is all the way at the back of the field and will undoubtedly have to use this as a drop round is now going to play well into the hands of Doug Gowans leading into Homestead next week. And then Suzuka, the final undroppable round of the season. But for right now, out in the Sachsenring in Germany, Doug Gowans takes another win next to his name. And will take his first win since creating his own team of FTR. Jason Depp will get on the overall podium for Velocity Racing Team with Sam Katakazinas in P3 for the Velocity Sim Labs. Depp will take the Pro-Am win with Andrew Cowan coming around towards the start-finish line to take an amateur win next to his name as he runs down and up around towards the final corner of the Sachsenring. It has been a great performance for him here tonight. He's up 6 spots. He's inside of the top 10. And it's a class win in the feature race for Andrew Cowan. A great effort there from Cowie. What a race. What a race this evening, Jack Oz. What a season it's been. 2 races left to go. Well, technically 3 races across 2 rounds at Homestead, Miami and Suzuka to end us out. How are we feeling on into the final round? Because for Danny Davidson, all of a sudden, the pressure is back on him.
Yeah, the pressure is mounting for the last two rounds, so it's going to be exciting, especially going into the final round. It's undroppable, so anything can happen.
Also, to compound the fact that Sinise also gained some points back on Davison here tonight as well, plus Doug taking maximum points for the final race of the night. That's got to feel good for those guys, knowing that they've now taken some solid points over him, leading into Miami next week. And if you were to have... Oh, Doug's just ruined that car and ruined that burnout. It's the only thing that can be said.
Yeah, I think
really.
he might need a bit of practice for next time he wins. He might be a little bit rusty on that one.
I would say so.
But,
I think for sure. He's a little bit rusty on that one there. But what a race it was for Doug Gowans, and what a race it was for the rest of the field too. Our feature race results, provisional as they are, as follows, was Doug Gowans P1 on the road, ahead of Jason Depp and Sam Katakazinas on the podium. Nathan Verney, Jordan Mazzaroli for your top 5. Mick Clifton, Callum Rosanita, Mitch Noble, Tim Schmalenberg make up the top 9, with Andrew Cowan taking the M win and finishing inside of the top 10 ahead of Kurt Heath in P11. Matt Tesseriero, Giuliano Sinise, Nick Martin and Brad Hudson for your top 15. Kevin Wakefield, Andrew Martin, the top 17 ahead of Darren Fay, Danny Davidson, unfortunately nearly a lap down on the leader, back in P19 here tonight with Greg Johnson, Josh King, Dean Zingovich and Dylan DeBono with Andrew Proctor and Ben Brook at the back of the field. Unfortunate for those guys who had a poor run in the feature race, Jack Oz, but a phenomenal night on the track for Doug Gowans and co.
Yeah, it definitely was, and it was definitely a... as we cut back to him on the double screen, it was definitely an interesting race that had... I was definitely not short of action. We thought, well, we got the safety cars right, but yeah, it was definitely... It created more action than I thought it would tonight, which is nice.
Yeah, for sure. Let's quickly drag in Andrew Cowan here, tonight's amateur winner. Mr. Cowan, it's been a while since we've had you in the SFL booth. I think is this your first class winner?
First podium, yeah, for these guys.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, for the Super Lights. Yeah, no, what a great track. I really enjoyed that tonight. But the only disappointing thing was that when I practiced it this afternoon, my motion was working. Of course, I jumped in for the race and it stopped working again, so drive me nuts. But it was still good fun tonight. Good battles, too.
It's one of those things, isn't it? Well, Cowie, it's taken you a little bit of time to get used to this car. You've been in this car now for a couple of seasons, and we haven't really had a chance to chat on broadcast, of course, about how you are finding things. So how have you been progressing with this car and getting used to driving it every single week?
I reckon the initial issue is that, that over-rotation of the rear. So you've really got to point the car early for your apexes, get your turning, get it lined up. Because if you try to leave it to the last minute, you just lose the rear. And you can't really trust it until you've done 2 or 3 laps. But I found once you get the idea of almost sort of sending it on the nose, then if it gets a little bit loose, you can still dance and deal with it because you're not trying to force it to go around the outside. So yeah, it is a bit of a learning curve, and I can sort of I think I followed Dylan in the practice there before or the qualifying at the start. And I thought I was doing good corner, and he's just eking it out every corner. And I mean, that's where the pace is, for those pros up there.
So obviously, final couple of rounds coming up here at Homestead and Suzuka, tracks that you've driven at before in the supercar and as well in the SFL. What do you think your preparation is going to be like leading into those tracks? And do you think maybe this is the swing of good luck for you leading into those races as well?
Oh, I don't know. I had a good race last night in the V8s at Oran Park. One of the things is when you race the V8s, it's Tuesday night, but then you're racing Sunday again. So I'm really not practicing for this here until the Tuesday night after the V8s or the Wednesday the next day. Every now and again, I'll try and jump on for a track I like Suzuka. I think I might give that a go a bit early because that's going to be fun. But yeah, look, I think I'm starting to unlock what you're supposed to do with this car, and there's a few times where even though I'm going in hard and the rear's dancing, you can still control it because you're not trying to, get on the gas early around the outside. So hopefully that means I can, get some better results. But that was really clean from the boys tonight. This is a fast flowing track, there's not a lot of big start spots, so not a big concertina, and I think it worked really good. I hope the broadcast looked good because there was plenty of passes in the middle and the back.
Yeah, it was, it looked great, especially with the new iRacing graphics update as well that came out today. So, it came at the perfect time for us to show off this track and it's all of its glory. But let us know, Cowie, anyone else who gets you out on track, any of your sponsors from Performance Sim Racing, and anyone else you wish to give a shout out to as well. For myself, Jack, and the rest of the league, congratulations on your maiden class win here for the Super Formula Championship.
Thanks, boys. Yeah, of course, Performance Sim Racing. Also had Troy spotting. Actually, he's spotting the whole Discord chat here, but mostly me. But it's great to have him along. Also, West End Motor Group, our big sponsor, Parramatta Isuzu, Too Easy Finance, Track Racer, my own business, cowiemusic.com. If you're in Brisbane looking for a muso, give me a buzz. And of course, Night Rider Designs for our paint. That you're finally acknowledging that's okay and it's growing on you, Hamish. I heard you say last night.
The Supercars one looks nice. I like it on the Mustang. It looks good.
Yeah, we're still playing around with this one. That also, hashtag talk to me, bro. So, boys, if you need to talk to someone, there are people out there that are willing to listen and, you don't have to go through it alone.
That's exactly right, Cowie. Thanks so much for coming and have a chat to us. Best of luck next week at Homestead. If we don't get a chance to speak to you, best of luck in the final round at Suzuka the week after as well.
Cheers, buddy.
Thank you.
Thanks, boys.
Next up, we have from the Velocity Sim Labs in P3 on the road here this evening. It is the one, the only Sam Katakazinos, who's recently caught up with Jack Anderson.
Sam, welcome to the commentary booth. How are you feeling after that one?
Relieved. Relieved. I haven't driven this track very, very much, and I didn't give this a very, very much practice. And yeah, the first section, like after turn one, that weavy part, and up to the top of the hill, never a lap did I get that right or feel right. And that double left-hander, starting the downhill, that's where you floor it 100% all the way up to near the end of the lap, and yeah, that part was good. That felt good. I just couldn't hit the 11s, high 11s that others were doing. Only in a tow could I do that, but yeah, I'm very relieved. I didn't crash the car, didn't screw up the pit stop, and held it together. The only thing is that I was a bit iffy about was the main feature, lap 1, turn 1. I ran it wide, and I think I backed up a few cars. So, yeah, pretty happy.
Well, that's good to hear. You definitely did well to end up where you did. And it didn't look like there was much room that you could really have a rest around here. So you're feeling a bit tired after that one?
Not physically. It's not a very demanding track in terms of forcing the car around. Force feedback wise, it's not very demanding in that regard. It's a very short track and a very long section, the second half of the lap. But just trying to keep it together, trying to protect your spot and see if you can make another spot, mentally exhausting.
Yeah.
Really, it was pretty much, for me anyway, very much a single file processional race, this one.
No, that's fair enough. Is there anyone that you'd like to thank that helped you get out on the track?
Yeah, for sure. My team, Velocity Sim Lab, they was great for helping me out and helping see where I can get a 10th or 2 here and there. our sponsors, Haikoki Power Tools, Here to Race YouTube, the Barber Republic in Sydney, our most recent sponsor. I'd like to thank Sim Racing World for organising the league and for putting on the broadcast. And yeah, don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Velocity Sim Lab. So yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you for being in here. Congratulations on your finish tonight, and hope that for the best for the remaining 2 rounds.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we have P2 on the road here this evening and P1 for the first time in the Pro-Am class for Velocity Racing Team. It is Captain Jason Depp, who survived the 7 Seas once again. And we made the joke on broadcast, Jace, that ironically now that the 7 Seas has broken land in Queensland, your internet issues have seemed to have been fixed. There must be something in the water up there to cause that happening for you. But congratulations. First time on the podium and first time for a race win as well in the Pro-Ams.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And yeah, luckily I missed all that in Queensland because I'm down in Victoria now. So it's yeah, I'm dry. But it was just because I had a different internet setup, so that's what was happening.
We'll have to have a chat to you post race, Jason, because both me and Jack are in Victoria.
Oh,
we need to find out where you are so we know if we can come and meet the captain.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
But I mean, how was that race for you? Because it's obviously a tough circuit, brand new into the iRacing service, but and brand new to SRW. I mean, it's been around for a couple of seasons now, but brand new to SRW. But one that definitely throws some challenges out there. It's got those fast-flowing corners, difficult braking zones, heaps of undulation changes. What was it like in your processes this week and getting used to the circuit and the car track combination? And then again, how was it getting used to that late setup change as well, where it changed up the gearing for this circuit? Did that affect you too much in your preparations?
You know, I was talking with Cowie and Doug about this. Personally, I didn't feel like it changed much for me in terms of my sort of gear shifts that I got used to during practice. But I think it was just that 6th gear was a little bit longer for that back straight. So it wasn't too bad with the gear change and the setup change for the gearbox, so it was all right. But track wise, yeah, it definitely felt tricky, especially sort of physically, because I think my right shoulder is just cooked, and so is my my wheel. I think I can smell a bit of burning from it now because it's just a belt driven wheel, so I might need to retire it and get something else. So there's a lot of left turns. It's very much NASCAR for half the track, I think, as well. So yeah.
And so leading into the final couple of rounds for Homestead, Miami next week, and then in towards Suzuka for the final round as well. Are you feeling confident going into those rounds, or do you think maybe there's something that you can improve upon leading into those final rounds as well that might help you go that next step to maybe get more of these consistent finishes out of yourself?
Well, I think it's just like you said at the end there, it's just consistency. I think that's what I struggled a lot with last year. I got lucky here and there, but especially going into this year, I've changed, you know, having moved, I had to get a new rig and new equipment. So just sort of trying to get used to everything and just being consistent instead of trying to drive, overzealously and, getting caught up in incidents. So I think that's probably the main thing, although I'm not sure if I'll make the last round. I don't think I'm here, but yeah, hopefully we'll see next round if I can get some more points and get into the AOWN,
We'll have to wait and see. Jack Oz, is there anything that you want to ask Jason before we let him run through the sponsors and let him go?
I was just going to say that I'll have to try and maybe try and land a sim sponsor to try and help get a discount for some gear. And I'm just very glad that we didn't end up in Davy Jones's locker tonight. So great job.
Well, MOZA Racing, I'm pretty sure SRW got some connections there, so maybe Sinky can try and sort you out with something on that end, Jace. But let us know. Helps get you and Velocity Racing Team out on track. Anyone else you wish to give a shout out to as well? And congratulations on your P1 in the Pro-Am class here tonight and the P2 overall here at the Sachsenring.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I mean, as usual, thank God, thank family, friends, and got to thank all the sponsors that help, put on this show for everybody. And also got to thank Velocity Racing Team, all the boys. It's fun racing with everybody and getting to learn. I think I think I heard you guys talking about it last round. I think, especially with Callum, setting up those practice sessions, it's helping. Even though I haven't attended every single one of them, but it's helping to race with everybody and sort of learn from each other. And thank you to all the sponsors for Velocity Racing Team as well. Cheers.
Very good, Jace. Stick around in the green room till after the show. Me and Jackals are going to figure out where you are in Victoria to see if we can meet up at some point. But congratulations. Best of luck in at least next week at Homestead. And if you're around for the final round, best of luck there as well if you don't get a chance to speak to you.
Cheers, boys. Appreciate it. See ya.
Thank you. Next up on the ticket, we have our race winner here this evening from Full Throttle Racing. For the first time, this team finds itself on the top end of the timing sheet here in the SFLs. It fell into his hand here tonight thanks to a iRacing drive-through or stop-hold penalty to Danny Davidson. It's Doug Gowans. Dougie, somehow you Bradbury your way up the front. The last 2 wins you've got yourself. You've lucked into it. But I think tonight, more so than ever, you put yourself in a positive position. You ran a very smart, clinical race. You were P2 prior to the pit stop periods. Danny got his penalty. You came into the pit lane nice and easy, got yourself out of pits and out of strife, and then pushed on for the rest of the race to take a race win for yourself. Congratulations not only for another race win for yourself, but for the first Super Formula Championship race win for your new team, Full Throttle Racing.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, look, it was pure skill. There was no luck involved. There's no Bradburys involved.
Absolutely none. Absolutely none. Guns out,
there you go. There you go. There you go. Hey, look, I pretty well had the pace of Daddy tonight, and I was happy just to, let him take the lead. And I was just going to sit with him and see what comes may of the pit stops. I didn't know what happened to him. I came out of my pit. And then Danny's in front of me in P21, and I'm like, what the hell's happened here? Wasn't until I read the Discord after that, you had some sort of penalty for either entering or leaving pit lane, which is very unfortunate for Danny.
Yeah, very, very, very unfortunate for him. I mean, it probably lost him at least a podium here tonight. Can't really call the cart before the horse and say he would have won the race. Obviously, he had some great pace there, but definitely probably lost him a podium at the very least. But we haven't really had a chance to speak this season on broadcast, Doug, about obviously you and Cal coming on board as full-time admin as Hutto stepped away. The fact that the calendar's been a little bit controversial for some drivers. I've been a big fan of the majority of the calendar this season. I thought Chicago was a great little crash fest showcase. I love a bit of carnage, Doug. But I was very excited by these final 3 rounds. Of course, the Sachsenring is my favorite track in Germany. I was excited to get the opportunity to call a race here. Homestead's one of my favorite Roval courses out there on the iRacing service. It's a great track. And then obviously Suzuka always brings something to the table for open wheelers, whether it's carnage, whether it's great racing, whether it's great battles.
Yep.
For these next couple of weeks, obviously you picked more tracks that would challenge drivers this season.
Correct.
How do you think Homestead and Suzuka is going to challenge them? Because we've seen Suzuka quite a fair bit in the open wheelers. We haven't really traversed to Homestead too much. I think it's going to be a great test, especially with the surfacing at that track, being that it's that tarmac to concrete composites all throughout. How do you think those circuits are going to test drivers, and how do you think you're going to be able to overcome those challenges as a driver as well?
Look, I think, the start of the season, I wanted to really, challenge the drivers. From my point of view, if you're not challenged, you're not learning. So I wanted to challenge the drivers and therefore, have them start to learn, more of the technical aspects of, racing on these type of circuits, So that was my approach this season. In regards to Homestead and Suzuka, I love Homestead. I think it's a cracking track. But as for Suzuka, we all love it. It's such a technical circuit as well. So, I'm really looking forward to those. I'm not the fastest there, but I'm looking forward to, mixing it up with the faster guys as best I can. And I think everyone else will enjoy the two rounds as well.
Yeah, I think they will, of course, as well. We're coming up towards the AWN as well. Can you give us any inklings on some tracks and maybe on those lists? I mean, I know you love Sebring, but we ran it this season, so that would almost have to take it off the list of the rotation, surely.
Hell.
Well, yeah. It's kind of in the prerequisites for the rotation there, but I mean, I think I'm more or less hopeful for a circuit like the historic Silverstone, which I know was on the proposed calendar for this season, didn't quite make it, because I think that actually would have created some great racing. So I would love for the historic, just to give my piece, I'd love the historic Silverstone to be an option. But what I think would actually be a really cool thing to do and it might be a little bit contentious there for some drivers, but I actually
Mhm.
reckon Portland should be one of the track choices because it's brand new. Everyone's in the same boat. No one's driven it.
That
And
is correct.
it's pretty much as much practice as you had is how much you can put into Portland. So that's what the test's going to be. 'Cause it's brand new.
Obviously, with a race like the Open Wheel Nationals, when we look at the tracks, we have to be considerate of we're going to have 38 odd cars. We're going to have, we got to make sure that cars aren't being lapped in such a short amount of time that traffic does become an issue for the leaders and their battles. We also try to think about, the runoff because we want to minimise safety cars and we want to keep the race flowing. So, as you said, no one's raced Portland yet, and I've never actually seen the circuit, on TV or anything. So I don't know what it's like. So I don't think it'll be on for this. I don't think it'll be on.
Best option, Doug, is find SVG's first Xfinity race.
Oh,
that was the track where
enough.
his first Xfinity race was. So that'll
Fair
show
enough,
you what
yeah.
Portland is.
Yeah. So look, we have some very good tracks in mind that would cater for some awesome racing between the top 20 from both GSRC and SRW. So I'm really looking forward. I look forward to it. Last season and the season before. I think it's an amazing race to be a part of. So it's not too far away now. So it's going to be fun.
I think it will be indeed. Jackals, is there anything you want to ask Doug before we let him go here tonight?
Come on, Jack. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know. I've gone blank, to be honest. But
It appears that I have to fill my brain power that I had lost throughout the broadcast. Jack has given me all of his, it seems, for the post-race interviews to get us through it.
and it's not much, so
Yeah, it's not much.
Mental telepathy.
I'm barely holding on, but
Yeah.
Doug,
Look, I was going to say, I think most of the drivers, the feedback I've been getting straight away is that they really enjoyed the racing tonight. They really enjoyed the circuit. Yes, the previous circuits have been a challenge to them, but they've also said that it was a lot of fun. Even Chicago, people were involved in multiple incidents and whatnot. It's a track that they'd never driven before. It's such a bumpy circuit, such a hard track to be fast at. But they enjoyed it. They enjoyed the challenge. So I think from my point of view, I'm kind of happy with the track selection this season and the challenge I presented to the drivers. And I hope they've enjoyed the season too.
Yeah, and I hope that they stick around for next season as well because, so many tracks in the iRacing service, we can offer them so many challenges through different racing styles as well. But Doug, let us know, helps get you out on track. Anyone else you wish to give a shout out to as well? For myself, Jack, and the rest of the league, congratulations on another race win here for yourself in the MOZA Racing Super Formula Championship, but also for Full Throttle Racing's first win here in the Super Formula Championship as well.
Well, I'd like to thank Sarah Lee Ultra Triple Chocolate Ice Cream that I'm going to have very shortly to enjoy when I watch the race back. But apart from that, I've got no one else to thank, apart from, my wife and family and whatnot. And, it's always nice that they, jump on and have a look at the race and give me congratulations if I do well. I want to thank SRW, thank you guys and RC for tonight. And, looking forward to next week.
Yeah, Doug, I've got waffles ready for me with Ben and Jerry's banoffee pie ice cream waiting for me as well. So I'm looking forward to getting into that.
It's unbelievable. I'm still a skinny dude. I'm only like 78 kilo, but I eat half a tub of chocolate every night, and or ice cream of some sort. You'd think I'd put some weight on, but I still don't. So I enjoy my ice cream.
It's what happens when your name's Guns Out Gowans, apparently. But
no, just good metabolism, mate. And it helps that I don't drink tea, coffee, or drink alcohol either. So there you go.
Well, there you go. But Dougie, thank you so much for coming to have a chat to us. Best of luck in the final couple of rounds at Homestead and Suzuka. Hopefully we get to have a chat to you once again when you're on the podium for those final couple of rounds. But if we don't as well, best of luck in the Australian Open Wheel Nationals. I believe a top 10 finish next week pretty much locks you into that. So congratulations. And best of luck in the final two rounds.
Lovely. Thanks very much, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Thanks, Doug. You too.
Bye.
Well, Jackals, that'll bring it into our show here this evening. 2 rounds to go this season for the MOZA Racing Super Formula Championship. We've spoken about a lot for Homestead and Suzuka over the next couple of weeks. Should be a great test to these drivers and should be 2 phenomenal tracks to offer up those challenges we mentioned for the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely should be. It's shaping up to be quite the championship battle up the front too, with Tony Davison having a little bit of a mare tonight. So, yeah, it's looking like it's shaping up to be a cracker at the end of the season, and maybe we'll see some fireworks in the next couple of rounds. Who knows?
Who knows? It's going to be an absolute belter, and you guys do not want to miss any of the action coming your way. So be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe, and the bell icon as well, as you do not want to miss any of the final couple of rounds action here across any of our series in SRW, including the Warren & Brown Tools V8 Supercars series on Tuesday nights and the Sunday night series, as well as that goes across season 1 and 2. Tomorrow night for the Shannon's Insurance Toyota GR86 Nationals for round 7. We go racing out at Summit Point Raceway, which should be a phenomenal night of driving once again. Sunday for round 6 of the Warren & Brown Tools V8 Supercars Championship, we go racing at Snetterton before going on a bye week again next weekend. And then back for next week, we'll be here for round 8 of the series. Big thank you, though, to all of our series sponsors, including our title sponsors, Warren & Brown Tools, for their support of the Tuesday night Fiat Supercars Series, the Sunday night Fiat Supercars Championship as well to MOZA Racing for coming on board to support the Super Formula Championship here this season on Wednesday nights, and to Shannon's Insurance for their support of the Thursday night Toyota GR86 Nationals, as well to Shunt Scenery, Grim Industries, home of the V8 Coffee Table, which can be found on Prime Video's Top Gear Australia during the news, interviews, and other studio segments, as well as Pheonix Driver Development. Be sure to message PDD on Facebook or Laz and Rehan Leonage on Discord to set yourselves up with some training sessions for the V8 Supercar, or even get yourself some setups too. They'll be able to find you guys a time slot or get you guys a setup made for whatever track it is that you need that help with. But I'm Hamish Munro, joined by Jack Anderson once again. Appreciate your time. Appreciate you being here with us for Sim Racing World. And until next time, stay safe, drive hard, and as always, bye for now.
This is amazing how it's clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostyn, Cam Water situation. Better contact going down to the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because tell you what, Reese Tanner